Those long, winding equations where you have x, the variable, you see the numbers, yet y, the answer, just feels completely out of reach. Our world today is full of these x's. We acknowledge the rapid rise of AI. We understand the tragic wealth inequality. We feel the anxiety of our job insecurity. But what exactly are we solving for? What is our why? I believe that for far too long, we've been trying to solve for the wrong variables. I mean, we're constantly trying to solve for these economic metrics, GDP, productivity, shareholder returns. But what if our why wasn't just some measure? What if our why was us? I believe there's one powerful, provocative, and quite frankly, profoundly simple idea that solves for this why. Universal basic income, also known as UBI. For those of you who are unfamiliar, UBI is a regular cash payment given out to everyone on conditions. This implies no means testing and no work requirement. Fundamentally, it's an economic floor beneath everyone, simply for being a member of society. Now, I can already see the questions forming. Won't people just stop working? How could our governments ever afford that? Wait. Isn't that just free money? And while, yes, I agree, these are valid questions, these, my friends, are questions rooted in a system of scarcity. And in order to ask them, we need to look at the data, at the real world experiment. Let's start off with arguably the biggest fear that UBI makes people lazy. A major 2-year study in Finland gave 2,000 unemployed people 560 euros a month, unconditionally. That's around 2,500 dirhams. The results were contrary to what many people believed because rather than a surge of idleness, there was a significantly better mental well being, less stress, and even more confidence in their future. All right, fine. But what about employment? Well, the study showed that on average, the recipient group had more working days than the control group. UBI didn't make people stop working. It gave them the stability, better, more meaningful work. Let's take a trip across the Atlantic Ocean. Stockton, California. A mayor by the name of Michael Tubbs ran a groundbreaking experiment where he gave 125 residents $500 a month, no strings attached. The results can only be seen as transformative. The primary uses of the money: food, utilities, car repairs, fundamentals for living a stable life. The data shows that as a result of the guaranteed income, the recipient group could find full-time employment at more than twice the rate of the control group. Isn't that just incredible? UBI allowed people to invest in a job search, to take a risk, and to, above all, escape the trap of being one flat tire away from missing a job. Okay, fine. So when we look at the evidence, we can see that UBI doesn't kill motivation. In fact, it unlocks it. It solves for human potential. But why now? Well, now, because our X variables are changing faster than ever. A 2023 study conducted by OpenAI, the creator of our beloved ChatGPT, found that large language models could affect up to 10% of tasks for a staggering 80% of the American workforce. 80%. This isn't about the factory workers anymore. It's about the lawyers, the writers, the analysts, and the creatives. The ground is shifting imminently beneath all our feet. We are facing what economist Daniel Susskind calls a world without work. Not necessarily a world without jobs, rather, a world where the line between economic survival and human labor is blurred, and their link effectively broken. We don't change our variables now more than ever. We'll be trying to solve for a future with tools from the past, a grand effort in futility. So, how do we pay for it? Well, that is the plaguing question, and the truth is, the answers range. They range from restructuring existing welfare bureaucracies to even implementing new tax, say a carbon tax, or an increased income tax, or even a tax on the immense profits generated by AI. A study by the Roosevelt Institute modeled several UBI plans and found that a robust UBI model could expand the economy, increase incomes for the majority, and most importantly, financed by things like progressive taxation. But the thing is, the first hurdle isn't a financial one, but an imaginative one. We first need to believe that it's possible. Because at the end of the day, UBI isn't just a policy, it's a declaration of value. It says that we believe every single person has the inherent right to exist, have food on their plates, and shelter above their heads. UBI is a foundation upon which people can grow, thrive. Imagine, just imagine. Imagine the writer who can finally take 3 months off to finish their novel. Imagine the single mother who can go back to school and earn her degree. Imagine the entrepreneur who can finally leave his dead end job in order to start the small business he's always dreamed of beginning. Imagine the housekeeper whose invaluable work they do for their family will finally be recognized as an economic contribution. We are solving for why. And why is a single mother in Stockton who found a better job? Why is a stressed out worker in Finland who finally found a hope? Why is the next generation facing off against a world of intelligent machines who will need a foundation from which they can create, innovate, and most importantly, care for one another? The stage is set. X equals automation, X equals anxiety, X equals inequality. The question is, will we choose to keep solving for these outdated metrics? Will we choose to solve for the most important variable of all? Us. My name is Ahan Dasgupta. Let's choose solve for why. Thank you.